Joining me now, Texas Congressman-elect, member of the House Transportation, Infrastructure, and Veterans Affairs Committees, and a former Texas sheriff, Troy Nehls. Congressman-elect, great to see you this morning. Happy New Year. Your reaction to the soundbite from the president, obviously being sarcastic there when he says he wants to see peace and security at the border.
Yeah, you know, I find it interesting Joe Biden wants to talk about the southern border now. Where's he been for the past 2 years? You appointed your vice president, Kamala, to be the border czar. She's in denial. She doesn't want to visit the border. But if you're going to go down to the border, you went down to a border state in Arizona a month or so ago to look at the chip manufacturing plant. All you have to do is drive about 2 hours south, and you could have been at our southern border. But he's not really interested in that. You know, we're up here in Washington, D.C. We're talking about who's going to be our next speaker, and we're not talking about the issues that are important, like our poor southern border and other things. So let's get to work today, and let's do what's in the best interest of the American people.
Is he going to go down to the border the way Gavin Newsom went down to the border, rather than worrying about security measures being taken down there, or how CBP is being completely overwhelmed, instead, you know, focusing on the processing of illegal migrants into the country? Do you think that's what the president is going to do, or is he going to take this visit seriously?
Well, I think he's going to go to some checkpoint or some port of entry. He's going to find about 6 Border Patrol agents that have voted for him and will continue to vote for him. And they're going to say nice, flowery things about this administration and how great of a job they're doing at our southern border. So I don't think with the dishonest media today that we have today, you're going to get an actually real picture, a true picture of what's taking place at our southern border.
Okay, so then he gets to check the box and say, well, I went down there, so you can't ask KJP about it in press briefings anymore. Switching gears for a moment while I have you, Kevin McCarthy shut down on Capitol Hill yesterday. 3 more votes in the chamber. He lost more support after Indiana's Victoria Sparks changed her vote from McCarthy to present. Instead of Jim Jordan, the 20 House holdouts nominating Florida's Byron Donalds for Speaker instead. But McCarthy's not holding grudges. He's not backing down. Watch this.
Not at all.
Are you angry at the people who have caused this situation?
No, not at all. I think it's productive.
Congressman-elect, do you think that McCarthy will get the votes possibly this afternoon?
I think there's an opportunity, there's a possibility. I think the American people are looking what's taking place on their televisions over the past 48 hours, and they want to see us elect a speaker. Listen, I am a member of the House Freedom Caucus. There's 35 to 40 of us, and I know there are members of the caucus that have said no to Kevin McCarthy. I understand they're great members, they're principled members, but if we're going to identify a problem and we say no to Kevin McCarthy, well then who is it? You have to have a solution to the problem that you identified. And right now, I don't see anyone being able to reach that number of 218 to get to be nominated as Speaker. Right. I don't see it. I just don't see it. And what are we going to do? We're going to be here till July?
Well, hopefully not. But you're right. He does have the majority right now with the 21 holdouts, one additional more than we saw previously. Tiana, I mean, right now, I'm so sorry. Right now, Hakeem Jeffries is the only one who's been able to get, you know, a consistent number. McCarthy's numbers have only fallen. Jim Jordan's numbers fallen, you know, and now you have Byron Donalds. What is the strategy on here and now? If lucky number 7 fails, is there the threat of, you know, trying to merge with some moderate Democrats? Is there the possibility, I know that Justin Amash is apparently hanging around the House, offering to be a consensus outside Speaker of the House, because something's got to give here, right? My understanding is that McCarthy's already been in talks and conceded everything he has to concede left, right?
Well, there's 201 of us that have been voting for McCarthy consistently. And I believe there's going to be a majority of those that have said, we're not voting for anybody but McCarthy. So then you have the 20 holdouts. And like I said, they're members of the Freedom Caucus. I am a member of the Freedom Caucus, but I don't believe this is the fight we should be having. We can lose this battle, but still win the war. And what I mean by that is because we have such a small majority, 4 seats, any legislation that gets on the House floor this year, Kevin McCarthy's going to understand. If you want that that to pass, you're going to need to have support from the Freedom Caucus. You're going to need to have us endorse that legislation, because if we don't support it, it's not going anywhere. So I believe those are the battles that we should be having. Let's elect him as Speaker, and then let's do the American people's work. Let's look at the investigations that need to be conducted. We have a poor southern border, inflation, crime, fuel, all sorts of issues. And right now I believe that we're wasting a little bit of time.
Real quick here, Congressman-elect, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg facing backlash for reportedly taking his husband along for the ride on a military aircraft when attending the Invictus Games last year. Meanwhile, a Delta Airlines pilot allegedly blaming Buttigieg for a flight delay and was heard venting to his passengers about it on the plane's public address system. Your reaction to this?
I think Pete Buttigieg is an absolute failure. I've had opportunities to speak with him in some of the committee hearings. I believe he's an absolute mess. But understand, Pete Buttigieg does not really want to be the Secretary of Transportation. He's running for president. Yeah. That's what he's doing. He's out there talking about Roe versus Wade and everything else. He's not serious about this job. He wants to be the leader of the free world.
Congressman-elect Troy Nehls, great to see you this morning. Thank you so much, sir.